Hey everybody, Derek here to bring you a video for Fear the Walking Dead. That's right, folks. I'm finally moving into the territory of the new upcoming Walking Dead show that is coming out this August, Fear the Walking Dead. I've been trying to get some ideas going about where I could start, how I can get a series going. And I thought to myself, well, the best way to do that is to just go over what we know so far and my thoughts about it and the way that it might impact the way that we watch it, the differences that we might see, and just why it's probably going to be a very great show that's coming up. So that is what I'm going to be talking about. I am moving into Fear the Walking Dead, and I'm also going to be moving into the comics. I have found a way to view the most recent comics because I normally only buy them by the volume. I don't buy them each issue individually. So I don't always have immediate access, but I think I found a way that I can read the comics when they come out. So if I can keep doing that, I will also be moving into the comics. So stay tuned for those videos as well. Just in case you don't want to know anything about Fear the Walking Dead, you're not the kind of person that wants to be spoiled, speculation, things along those lines, then you may not want to watch the video because you might be spoiled. Okay, so what do we know so far about Fear the Walking Dead? Well, you look at it kind of as a prequel to the events that happened in The Walking Dead. So the earliest thing that we saw in The Walking Dead was, the world was kind of normal. It was just Rick and Shane and them, tracking down a bunch of fugitives and that, shootout that occurred that got Rick injured and into a coma. That was the earliest that we saw. And things didn't seem to be going too bad at that point. I mean, I don't know if that was related to anything, but we really didn't get the chance to see what exactly happened. Like, how did all this happen in the first place? And it appears that Fear the Walking Dead is going to give us insight into that. And I have here something that Robert Kirkman wrote about. And it says that Fear the Walking Dead will take us back to the earlier, more dangerous, more terrifying days of The Walking Dead. A time when danger is lurking around every corner and the thing most likely to get you killed was your own ignorance of the rapidly changing world around you. And I think that this is really going to be a very exciting show if they do it right, and I think they will. You know, always seeing how things go from normal per se to totally messed up and the world's just changing all around you is definitely a very exciting thing to view. You really want to know how are people going to react, when all this happens. Are they going to hide? Are they going to leave the cities? Are they going to take up guns? What are they going to do? And I think that really we're going to see a conglomeration of all of these elements. I think that obviously there's going to be some kind of first encounter that we're going to see, with a zombie. You're going to have perhaps a scene where, the trailer that they've released has already indicated that there is some kind of virus. They talk about that several cities have been suffering from this virus and people have been sick, and you better watch out, stay healthy, things like that. So, it kind of makes you think that, yeah, it does come from a virus. And the Walking Dead has kind of already explained that. And while we don't, in my opinion, I don't need a play-by-play of this virus. What I more want to know is what did it do? How did it get out there? And what's going to happen? And that's the big thing. Are like a couple thousand zombies going to all of a sudden, get up and start attacking people at the same time? Or was it just one incident and eventually you get more and more and more incidents? And that's what I'm curious about, is to see the progress. And I think that we will see that. I think that similar to how we felt, I think it was many years ago where there was a guy on bath salts that just attacked this guy. And, a couple people were kind of freaked out wondering if this was it. And I think that you might get something similar happening here. You might get a walker that does attack somebody, and that's like the first case. Like, and a guy was bitten in downtown Los Angeles today by some maniac, blah, 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 blah. And Eventually things start to spill out, and perhaps you look outside and you start to see things. You start calling the police, you start trying to get people to come out and help you, and there's just nobody that can. Or, your law enforcement is so busy that they can't come and find you. And then, of course, as the show progresses, as things start to get worse, and, the National Guard's not able to help you, the armed forces aren't going to be able to help you, I'm assuming that things like that are going to happen. And as a result, what are we going to see? Are we going to see people start to take up arms against other people? It talks about here, the most terrifying days of The Walking Dead. And really, I think that that is the truth in the sense of, we saw in the actual Walking Dead various things going on, like that flashback with Shane when he went to go save Rick. You see these soldiers just gunning down people, like in a way to contain the issue. You think that somebody's been exposed, and your solution is to shoot people that you think were exposed so they don't spread the virus. If that's your thinking at the time. Then, of course, we had that other flashback in season 2 when Shane, Laurie, and the Pelletiers and other people were outside the city limits of Atlanta, and they dropped napalm on the cities. And, that probably didn't just happen in Atlanta. That probably happened all over the place. So what are going to be, the consequences there? And there could be many. And I would not be surprised if we're going to see this. We're going to see it from a civilian's perspective, but you're going to see what other people, I think, are doing. And I really would not be surprised if, they find out that, hey, the army's going to come down here and, kill everybody on the street because they think you're contaminated. This is the only way that we can deal with the issue. Or, hey, they're going to drop napalm on the streets of Los Angeles. You might want to get out of there. I could see various storylines like that happening. Talking about the most terrifying, it's like, really, those are very bad times. As you're trying to figure out what to do. Do I go to the safety shelters? Do I stay where I'm at? What happens if somebody comes knocking on my door? Should I answer it? Should I cooperate? Should I not? So many different fears that I think it really does emphasize this idea of Fear the Walking Dead. You're fearing not only the zombies, but also all the fallout that happens after that. So The Walking Dead can be considered like the apocalypse and all the fears that come after that. I mean, people are going to be scared to death. And I think that if we ever did get a kind of situation like that, it really would be a very scary place. You're wondering what exactly is going to happen. And I think that it really makes sense here. And then, of course, you have other things like when they talk about the thing most likely to get you killed was your own ignorance of the rapidly changing world around you. Well, ignorance can definitely play in here because what you're going to have is a couple of different things. Ignorance meaning, well, oh, it's not that serious. There's just a bunch of crazy people out there, biting people's, arms off and stuff. I don't care. Walking around, thinking, oh, I'm just going to go and do this and do that, and all of a sudden, you get bit, you're dead. I think that there's that kind of ignorance. But you also have ignorance in the sense of, everybody making a decision as a unified group to do something, which I think is a very big part of a lot of other zombie genres. We kind of saw that more in the beginning of The Walking Dead, with Rick and Shane and Dale and different people's ideas, coming together to kind of combat what we're supposed to do. Are we supposed to kill Randall? Are we supposed to stay on the farm? Are we supposed to leave? Are we supposed to kill the zombies in the barn or not? Who's in charge? Who's in charge of this? What are we supposed to do? And when you have people that don't agree, it can cause a problem. Now, Walking Dead has dealt with that a lot better. With Rick coming up as the leader, people are willing to follow him for the most part. And yeah, there are a couple challenges, but overall not that many. They really do work together as a group, which is something you don't really see in a lot of zombie movies, especially George A. Romero's movies. You don't see people coming together and helping each other out. You see fractions in the groups, or you see two different groups, that, are doing things, come and clash with each other. There are lots of different things that they do. And you see that all the time. And of course, you do see it in The Walking Dead itself, but not within the group. But here, I think it's ignorance of the seriousness of what's going on and what they're going to do. And one of the things that you note about the characters is that this is a family. This is a family unit that we're focusing on here. Yeah, in Walking Dead itself, there are some families. You had, Daryl and Merle. You had Rick's family. You had Andrea and Amy. You do have some people that got relatives, but not every relative. And I think that that's going to really play a big factor, and it's going to be very hard because you might want to do something that your family doesn't want to do, and then you're put in a very hard position. Do you just leave mom and dad in their house to get napalmed while you flee the city? What do you do? And everybody's going to have their own opinion about what to do. Night of the Living Dead, I think, is very perfect. You had some people wanted to go and blockade themselves in the cellar, and you had other people who wanted to stay upstairs because if they blocked themselves in the cellar, there's no exit. And those ideals clashed. And I think that we're going to see a lot of that here too, especially because the other things that they talk about are, the stakes are going to be higher and the ride more intense. We're showing the insanity of civilization crumbling that Rick Grimes slept through. So while Rick is in his coma, all this is going on. And again, the fact that this is a family of people coming together, and I think that is what's going to happen because your main characters, played by Cliff Curtis and Kim Dickens, I believe that they're engaged. And then, of course, Cliff has a kid. Can't remember the woman's name. I think it's Madison, but don't quote me on that. She's got 2 kids. And then, of course, Cliff has an ex-wife. And it appears, that at some point, all of these characters are going to come together. Whether that's because, the crap hits the fan whenever they're all together or not, I don't know. Or whether somebody's going to, end up going there. I think that that would be, more likely that maybe the ex-wife of Cliff would, come and try to pick up her kids and end up, running into them. But I think that it's going to show a lot of, the family structure breaking down, or what is the family going to do? And especially when you have a broken family like this is, which I'm not judging, but what I am saying is that sometimes, when you have an ex-husband and an ex-wife, you see that where even in today's world, you have people wanting to do different things with their children, once a divorce happens. The one parent might want to move out of the state and move somewhere else. The other parent might want to stay put. One parent wants to put their kid in a private school. The other parent wants to keep them in the public school. I mean, you have all of these different issues coming together just in regular life. But what do you do when the world is collapsing around you and you don't think that what somebody's doing to your family is the right thing to do? And we might see that. And I'd be very, very interested to see what these people are going to do. Because of what's going on, are you going to have people saying, well, no, we need to leave Los Angeles, and somebody else going, no, we need to stay. We just need to go to high ground and we'll be fine. I could see a lot of different possibilities there that, you're going to see a lot of family fighting. And maybe, who knows? I mean, it may even turn deadly. Whether there will be a villain or not, or whether like the villain's within somebody, like Shane, is he a villain? That's a hard thing to judge, I wouldn't know. Especially not, I mean, maybe right up near the end, yes, like near the end of his life, with Randall and then him trying to kill Rick. Yeah, I would label that as a villainous territory there. But sometimes things aren't so black and white. You do get that gray area of, somebody trying to kick somebody out and somebody saying, no, I'm not going, or I'm not leaving my kids behind. Give me my kids, and there could be some kind of a standoff between, Cliff's ex-wife and his current fiance, all this different conflict that's coming together. I'm very interested to see if they will feature that. And I would not be surprised if they will. I don't think that it's a coincidence that they're focusing more on a family unit versus a bunch of strangers. Because a bunch of strangers, grow trust over time. Whereas you already have a family bond of trust with some people, and seeing it potentially break down, I think is more devastating than, trying to get a group of strangers to agree with you. Because you don't want to hurt your family and you want to try to do the best thing that you can for them. But when it competes with the interests of somebody else, that may not always be good. So I think that there are a lot of elements that they have going into this, and I think that if they really do play it right, it's going to be a great series, and I can't wait for it. So I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you guys have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if there are any video suggestions that you would like to see, don't be afraid to suggest them. I'm always open to suggestions. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you very, very much. And I really hope that you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.